Hello and a very warm welcome to today's session brought to you by Team Testbook Supercoaching. I hope all of you are doing really well. देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से let's just quickly get started with today's session. आज के सेशन में हम लोग of course आपका जो मास्टर क्लास में क्वेश्चंस को प्रैक्टिस कर रहे थे उसी को ही कंटिन्यू करेंगे and we will be looking at some important concepts. जल्दी से देखेंगे उनको and of course I'm also going to be sharing the schedule for next week's master classes as well as YouTube classes. तो देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से लेट्स जस्ट क्विकली गेट स्टार्टेड. अब लोग जल्दी से आप लोग रेगुलर भी हो जाइएगा बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग अ लॉट ऑफ दीज क्वेश्चंस. Right, I will be sharing all the updates and links also on the Telegram platform for both the master classes. अभी मैं आपको change timings जो next week के लिए आपका रहेगा और next week हम लोग क्या schedule follow करने वाले हैं. It's a very interesting topic that we'll be covering. उसका agenda भी I'll be sharing it with all of you. ठीक है, this is of course the leaderboard for today that we are having. अभी की जो आपकी मास्टर क्लास हुई थी सो 9th फरवरी वाली मास्टर क्लास के अंदर 9th फरवरी 2024 मास्टर क्लास के अंदर देवाश्री, देवशीष, दीक्षा, शिल्पा, सपना, रश्मि, ईशा, मोनिका, पूजा, हुसैन कोर. Very nice. Good to see new names coming every now and then on the leaderboard. Many congratulations. और आज हम लोगों ने काफी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चंस करे थे जैसे फॉर इंस्टेंस रिमेंबर मर्करी द मूवमेंट से जो जर्नल एसोसिएटेड है या फिर when we were looking at Philip Larkin getting inspired by Sydney sonnet number 31. तो I hope आप लोगों ने अच्छी तरह से अपने questions को compile कर लिया होगा. That is what we are trying to talk about. Okay, yeah. Unsettling life. I'm just going to be sharing all the timings with all of you. मैं जल्दी से आप लोगों को timings बताने वाली हूँ. तो आपकी next week का जो master class है कल तो हम लोग मिल रहे हैं. Tomorrow is Saturday. कल क्योंकि आपकी कल छुट्टी हो गई थी. So 10th February को तो of course 10th February 2024 we are meeting. I will be meeting you at 10 p.m. for your master class and I will be meeting you at 10:30 p.m. for your YouTube class. ठीक है, तो कल वाला सेशन तो आपका एज इट इज रहेगा इन ल्यू ऑफ द सेशन दैट वाज नॉट हैपनिंग ऑन थर्सडे. तो कल आपका सेशन 10:30 p.m. पे होगा. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट वीक वी आर गोइंग टू बी मीटिंग मंडे टू फ्राइडे. ठीक है, मंडे टू फ्राइडे क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम ऑफ कोर्स आपका मंडे टू सैटरडे चलेगा. राइट, आपका क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम फाउंडेशन बैच जो है दैट विल बी मूविंग फ्रॉम मंडे टू सैटरडे. मंडे टू सैटरडे आपका वो पूरा का पूरा प्रोग्राम चलेगा. माया, यू कैन एक्चुअली चेक योर स्कोर ऑल्सो. गुड इवनिंग मोनिका, गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन. ठीक है, सो आप अपने स्कोर को भी अच्छी तरह से एक बार चेक कर लीजिएगा. सो ऑफ कोर्स आपका दिस इज योर फाउंडेशन बैच. ठीक है, ये आपका फाउंडेशन बैच का तो जो क्लास रहेगा वो 8:30 p.m. रहेगा. ऑलराइट, मंडे टू फ्राइडे आपका वाईटी यूट्यूब का के ऊपर सेशन होगा 10:30 p.m. मैं कल आपको ये दिखा भी दूंगी. एंड 10:30 p.m. पे आपका जो कोर्स रहेगा विल बी लुकिंग एट द हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर अलॉन्ग विद प्रैक्टिसिंग क्वेश्चंस. और हम लोग एक बुक से हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर करेंगे विच इज एक्चुअली वन ऑफ द बेस्ट बुक्स टू कवर हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. आई विल बी टेलिंग हम लोग एक्सर्प्ट्स ही उस बुक के अच्छी तरह से करेंगे. तो पूरा का पूरा स्केड्यूल मैं आप लोगों को टेलीग्राम पे भी दे दूंगी. और आपकी मास्टर क्लास का जो टाइमिंग रहेगा नेक्स्ट वीक वो मंडे टू फ्राइडे 9 o'clock का रहेगा. ठीक है, मंडे टू फ्राइडे 9 a.m. का आपका मास्टर क्लास का टाइमिंग रहेगा. सो प्लीज मेक अ नोट ऑफ दिस कि आपका नेक्स्ट वीक टाइम टेबल में जो शिफ्ट है, अभी हम लोग मास्टर क्लासेस के लिए जैसे 10 p.m. पे मिल रहे थे, अब आप लोगों के पास पूरा दिन होगा. सो 9 a.m. यू गोना बी हैविंग लाइक अ क्विक मास्टर क्लास और उसके बाद आप वो मास्टर क्लास के टॉपिक्स को भी पूरे दिन में रिवाइज कर सकते हैं बिफोर यू कम बैक. ठीक है, सो 9 a.m. इज गोइंग टू बी योर मास्टर क्लास टाइमिंग्स. ठीक है, वाईटी और फाउंडेशन बैच की टाइमिंग्स में कोई चेंज नहीं आएगा. YT session is going to be at 10:30 p.m. Foundation batch session is going to be at 8:30 p.m. ठीक है, मास्टर क्लास जो आपकी है वो 9 a.m. पे हो जाएगी. सो प्लीज मेक अ नोट ऑफ दिस. अच्छी तरह से इसका नोट बना लीजिएगा, प्रॉपरली इसको देख भी लीजिएगा प्रॉपरली. ठीक है, चलिए देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से लेट्स जस्ट नाउ क्विकली मूव ऑन. जल्दी से लेट्स जस्ट मूव ऑन नाउ. So I hope ये आपको timings याद रहेंगे. You will be able to remember the timings all together. Now let me just quickly come on. So we had looked at 14 questions right now जिसमें हम लोगों ने नूरुद्दीन फारा के भी वर्क्स को देखा था, एवेलिना का क्वेश्चन देखा था. We looked at Derek Walcott's A Far Cry from Africa and Sad Steps by Philip Larkin. अब जल्दी से let's just quickly get started. Let's just quickly get started with the next set of questions that we are having for today. फटाफट से next set of questions को एक बार जल्दी से स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं. Let's just see how many of you are able to get these right. जल्दी से let's just cover these up. ठीक है, जल्दी से let's just cover these up. फटाफट से बताइए what is the correct answer? This novel is dedicated. This novel is dedicated to the railroad bones, right? This novel is dedicated to the railroad of bones and has the epigraph, I am the woman they give, deal with women's clothes too. From Christine Gallien's Inheritance. Identify the novel. You have to identify the novel. Which work are we talking about? Which work are we talking about? This is which work that we are all able to see. जल्दी से बताइए, फटाफट से बताइए, what is the work that we are predominantly talking about over here? So ये जो work आप देख पा रहे हैं, this work that you are able to see, which work is this? Which work is this? Bensalim, याद है अभी अभी हम लोगों ने करा था Bensalim and then a lot of other works that we had talked about. So properly इन सबको review भी कर लीजिएगा. Just try to revise all of these as well. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer over here? Uh, okay, Maya, you can check the you can check the recording then. We're just experimenting the timings for next week, ठीक है? So don't worry about it. चलिए जल्दी से बताइए. What becomes the correct answer over here? यहाँ पर क्या सही जवाब हो जाएगा? What will be the right answer? अभी तक सही जवाब नहीं आया है. अभी तक सही जवाब नहीं आया है. Marlon James that we're talking about. अभी तक right answer नहीं आया है. अभी तक we haven't received the right answer over here. We haven't got the right answer over here. So the book of Night Women by Marlon James. The book of Night Women by Marlon James. I am the woman they give deal women clothes to, right? From Christine Gallien's Inheritance that we're talking about. Okay. So here, this is the book of Night by Marlon James. The book of Night by Marlon James. The book of Night by Marlon James. ये Jamaican novelist है. It tells you about Lilith, a young woman born into slavery who challenges the boundaries altogether. So आप इसको Jamaican Caribbean writings के अंदर भी लिख लीजिएगा. Okay. Moving on, which novel by John Banville is telling you the story of travelers who arrive on a small island and stumble upon the house of Professor Kretznager, whose relationship to a painting entitled The Golden World by a fictional Dutch artist named Woblin plays a very central role. Plays a very central role. Plays a very central role. Which work are we talking about? Which work are we talking about? Which work are we talking about? Very, very famous work that we are looking at. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer over here? Uh, No, it is not C. It is not B. तो आपको आंसर पहले से ही थोड़ा सा पता चल चुका है. This is ghosts. ठीक है, this is ghosts. अभी तक किसी ने सही नहीं दिया है. This is ghosts that we are talking about. It's not the sea. I know John Banville का सबसे famous the sea, right? We are able to see, but this is ghosts that we are talking about. ठीक है, this is ghosts that we are talking about. This work that you are able to see, ये work कौन सा वाला work है? This is ghosts that we are essentially talking about. Okay, so please remember that. Please keep this in mind that when we are looking at over here, this is ghosts that we are speaking about. ठीक है, ये कौन सा वर्क हो जाता है आपका? ये घोस्ट हो जाता है बाय जॉन बैनविल, राइट? अगेन शॉर्टलिस्टेड फॉर द बुकर प्राइज ऑल टुगेदर. Novel is beginning with a group of travelers who are disembarking on a small island in the Irish Sea after their ship runs aground. All right, and they stumble upon a house inhabited by Professor Kretznager, his assistant Lichid, and an unnamed character who figures essentially in the novel who's referred to as Little God, right? Little God altogether, and Little God can be identified as Freddie Montgomery. ठीक है, ये सारा कुछ आप अच्छी तरह से देख पा रहे हो. Okay, identify two plays usually paired for the critique of politics of language and acts of police interrogation. 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 Which work are we talking about? Which work are we talking about? Which work are we able to see over here? यहाँ पर कौन सा सही जवाब हो जाता है? What is the correct answer that we're able to see? What becomes the correct answer over here, everybody? जल्दी से बताइए. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer over here? ये थोड़े डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स हैं, तो इनको अच्छी तरह से एक बार गो थ्रू कर लीजिएगा. They're a little different altogether, so please try. Very good. Vishnu Das has got the right answer. One for the Road, Mountain Language. That is absolutely the correct. The play One for the Road, inspired by the conversation that Pinter had with two young Turkish women who refused to acknowledge the torture of political prisoners ever took place altogether, right? तो ये आपका पूरा का पूरा आ रहा है. So please keep that in mind. Okay, Robert Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy was published in 1621 and expanded and altered in subsequent editions. In how many subsequent editions you were able to see? Abhi bhi we were talking about, remember when we were talking about Michael Robarts editions, when we were looking at Michael Robarts editions all together, हम लोग इसके बारे में देख रहे थे. So when you are looking at आपके कितने editions आ रहे हैं, 24 में आ रहा है, 28 में आ रहा है, 32 में आ रहा है, तो तीन आपको बता दिए और हैं कि नहीं है? और हैं. तो कितने एडिशंस आपके हो सकेंगे, कितने एडिशंस आपके हो जाएंगे, कितने एडिशंस हो जाएंगे? नहीं निखिल, 4 नहीं है, 4 से ज्यादा है, 4 से ज्यादा है. ठीक है, 4 नहीं है, 4 से ज्यादा है. तो कितने एडिशंस हैं आपकी टोटल? 5 एडिशंस आते हैं. ठीक है, आपके टोटल कितने एडिशंस आ रहे हैं? आपके ओवर 5 आ रहे हैं. 24, 28, 32. ठीक है, 24, 28, 32 ये पूरे के पूरे. सो यू आर एबल टू सी, ये तो आपके आ ही रहे हैं. दिस इज इजी टू नो थ्रू द टेबल ऑफ 4 ऑल टुगेदर. एंड देन 38 एंड 51 में भी आ रहा है, राइट? देन यू आर एबल टू सी 1638 एज वेल एज 1651, 52 के अंदर भी आ रहा है. तो 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So total there are 5 additions that we are able to see, right? So Anatomy of Melancholy by Robert Burton that you are able to see, right? ये सारे के सारे 5 आपके additions आ रहे हैं that you are able to look at. ठीक है? So please remember that Robert Burton का Anatomy of Melancholy that we are able to see. ठीक है? So please keep that in mind. Moving on, which of the following magazines self-consciously created the identity for what is a group of painters, sculptors, and writers? A group of painters, sculptors, and writers. A group of painters, sculptors, and writers. What is this से कौन सा associated है? Movement से अभी हम लोगों ने Mercury देख लिया था. So please remember the journals. How are they associated? ये भी हम लोग अच्छी तरह से देख रहे हैं. Very good. Diksha's got the right answer. Blast is absolutely the right answer. Blast is absolutely the right answer. It was a very short-lived magazine of the Whatist movement that you were able to see. दो editions publish हुए थे 1914 के अंदर and 1915 के अंदर, right? And दोनों के दोनों they were written primarily by Wenderman Lewis. Wenderman Lewis was associated with it. And again, modern poetry, avant-garde poetry, Blast one, Wenderman Lewis के contributions थे. Pound का, remember Pound and Wenderman Lewis जिसमें आप सब लोगों ने imagism click कर दिया था, but right answer was Vorticism. Then Gordia, Breska, Epstein, Spencer, Gore, Wadsworth, Rebecca West, इन सबके words भी आए थे, right? Ford Madox, Hoffier's का novel The Saddest Story, right? The Good Soldier जिसको बोला जाता है, right? वो भी आपका इसके अंदर आया गया था. So Blast was the right answer. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the figure of speech characterized by repetition of words or a group of words at the beginning of consecutive sentences. At the beginning of consecutive sentences, जो consecutive आपके sentences हैं, उसके beginning के अंदर, right? जो consecutive आपके sentences हैं, उनके beginning के ऊपर. What is the correct answer over here? जल्दी बताइए, what becomes the right answer that we are able to see? What becomes the right answer that you are able to look at? So again, your figures of speech have to be done properly. What is this called? What is this called? Diksha is on fire today. Anaphora is absolutely the correct answer. Anaphora is the right answer. Diksha got it right. ठीक है, आपका anaphora is a rhetorical device, right? Emphasis के लिए आ रहा होता है. You are repeating specific word or phrases, right? You're repeating specific words or phrases again. So Blast is the magazine associated with Vorticism. Anaphora is the repetition that we are able to see, right? Anaphora is the repetition that we are able to look at. Which novel of Ishiguro is narrated by this Japanese widow living in England and draws on the destruction and rehabilitation of Nagasaki? Destruction and rehabilitation of Nagasaki. There is the destruction as well as rehabilitation of Nagasaki. Which work are we talking about? Destruction and rehabilitation of Nagasaki. Destruction as well as rehabilitation of Nagasaki. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer that you're able to see over here? Absolutely right. A pale view of the hills is the right answer. A pale view of the hills is absolutely the correct answer. Pale view of the hills is the correct answer. Pale view of the hills, first novel by Nobel Prize winning writer Ishiguro. And ye jo hai, it's telling you the story of Itsuko, the middle-aged Japanese woman living alone in England, right? You're able to see that, a lot of Ishiguro's works, they've become very popular. Jose Vidya Balan recently in the reel was saying that Prajakta Kohli had given me Norwegian Wood, and I started reading, and I'm back in love with reading altogether, right? Opens with a discussion between Itsuko and her younger daughter Nikki about the recent suicide of Itsuko's older daughter Kiku. That is what you're able to see, okay? So please keep that in mind altogether. Which novel opens thus? Whether I shall turn out to be a hero of my own life, or whether that station will be held by anyone, these pages must show. Questions 1 to questions 14 हम लोगों ने अभी 15th onward start किया है. 1 to question 14 हम लोगों ने कहाँ पर cover किया था? 1 to question 14 हम लोगों ने master class में cover कर लिया था, right? 1 to question 14 we had covered it in master class altogether. I hope all of you remember. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer over here? Very famous work, very famous work. Which work are we talking about? Very good. Debashish has got the right answer. It is David Copperfield. It is David Copperfield, right? So again, I'll be the hero of the life, right? That's how it's actually beginning altogether, right? This is hero of my own life, hero of my own life altogether. That is what you're able to look at, okay? Characters भी इसके आपको याद रखने हैं. The branch of philosophy that asks the question, how do we know what we know? 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 What is this? How do we know what we know? इसको क्या बोला जाता है? How do we know what we know? What is this branch called as? Rashmi's got it right. Rashmi's got it right. This is called epistemology, right? What is this called? This is called epistemology. What do we know? How we know? This is epistemology. Episteme, this story that tells you about the beginning altogether. तो इसको क्या बोला जाता है? इसको epistemology बोला जाता है. The 18th century practice in England of bookselling was midway between direct patronage and impersonal sales. A patron paid half the cost of a book before publication and half on delivery. The author of the book received these payments directly. The patron's name appeared in the preface for the book published in the manner. This practice was called what? What was this practice called? What was this practice known as? What was this practice known as? What was this practice called? What was this practice called? इस practice को क्या बोला जाता था? Very good, Debashish. This was called subscription, right? A patron paid half the cost of the book before the publication and half on the delivery. So this was called subscription. 17th and 18th century के अंदर, obtained by the subscribers altogether. So half आ रहा था. Oxford India has published a volume of Premchand's translation in English, the Oxford Indian Premchand. Who among the following is not one of the translators? इनमें से कौन सा? ये translation जो आज main topic जो हम लोग basically बाद में भी discuss करेंगे, because that's really important, right? That's of course extremely important. So what becomes the right answer here? यहाँ पर क्या सही जवाब हो जाता है? What becomes the right answer over here? What becomes the right answer? The Oxford India Premchand. The Oxford India Premchand. 4 important collections है, एक नहीं है. एक नहीं है. Who are we talking about? 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 गिलियन राइट का नहीं है, ठीक है? गिलियन राइट का नहीं है. डेविड रूबिन, आलोक राय, क्रिस्टोफर किंग का है. ओके, सो व्हाट आर यू एबल टू सी? ऑक्सफोर्ड इंडिया प्रेमचंद जो आपका है, इसके अंदर आपको डेविड रूबिन का दिखाया गया है. और राइट, आलोक राय इज ऑल्सो देयर ऑल टुगेदर. क्रिस्टोफर आर किंग इज ऑल्सो देयर, ठीक है? So please keep that in mind. In communicative approach to English language teaching, the development of a language learning or teaching involves a shift. किस तरह का shift involve करता है? This involves a shift. What kind of shift are we able to see? What kind of shift are we able to see? What kind of shift are we able to notice? We are able to notice a kind of shift. What kind of shift are we able to notice? What kind of shift are we able to notice? From form-based to meaning-based approach. From form-based to meaning-based approach altogether. Communicative, form-based to meaning-based, right? You're not worried about words. You're not worried about K, D, A, B, B, A, G. No, you're worried about कि क्या meaning निकलेगा. If I'm wanting to tell you I want a book, right? Or I want a bottle. So I'm more worried about the meaning altogether. So that is absolutely true, right? That is absolutely true. That is something that you're looking at altogether. राइट सो ये आपका सही है फ्रॉम एन इक्लेक्टिक अप्रोच टू रिजिड मेथड नहीं रिजिड मेथड नहीं है उल्टा क्योंकि यू आर मोर वरीड अबाउट मीनिंग यू आर मोर वरीड अबाउट मीनिंग ऑल टुगेदर सो रिजिड अप्रोच आपका नहीं होगा फ्रॉम टीचर सेंट्रिक टू लर्नर सेंट्रिक यस योर टीचर बिकम्स अ फैसिलिटेटर तो ये दोनों के दोनों फ्रॉम ब्रॉड बेस टू कंप्लीट स्पेसिफिक नीड्स नो सो अगेन बोथ ए एंड सी आर राइट सो कम्युनिकेटिव अप्रोच जो आपका आ रहा है communicative approach के अंदर you are actually more worried about what are you more worried about in the communicative approach in the communicative approach you are primarily really interested in making sure कि आप किस तरह से मीनिंग को इम्प्लाई करेंगे कम्युनिकेट कर पाएंगे दैट इज व्हाट द कम्युनिकेटिव अप्रोच इज ऑल अबाउट Four moral essays by Alexander Pope are addressed to carefully selected figures. Identify the correct group. Identify the correct group. You have to identify the correct group. You have to identify the correct group. You have to identify the correct group. What is the correct group that you are able to see? What is the correct group that you are able to see? यहाँ पर what becomes the correct group that you are able to look at? Very good, Diksha. Diksha today is like answering all correct answers. Excellent, Diksha. Very proud of you. Okay, absolutely right. Absolutely right. That is the correct answer. Martha Blount, Lord Cobham, Bathurst, Bullington, everyone, right? So four moral essays to hai. They are identified to these four people. Moral essays, epistles to several persons. ये चार poems आते हैं. ये आपको as it is question भी पूछा जा सकता है कितने लोगों को आते हैं चार को आ रहे हैं ठीक है and what are you able to see epistle to Cobham of knowledge and characters of men epistle to a lady or of characters of woman epistle to Bathurst that is coming of use of riches in epistle to Barlington of use of riches ठीक है so ये सारे के सारे चार लोगों को आ रहे हैं please remember that okay Bertolt Brecht's Mother Courage and Her Children presents a war-torn Europe as its protagonist and she follows troops with a canteen wagon. What is the real name of Mother Courage? What is the real name of Mother Courage? Mother Courage का real name क्या है? What is the real name of Mother Courage? What is the real name of Mother Courage? What is the real name of mother? Very good, Wilfred. Very good, Wilfred. Wilfred has got it right. Wilfred, Anna Furling is the right answer. Anna Furling is absolutely the right answer. The name of Mother Courage is Anna Furling, right? The name of is Anna Furling. So, Mother Courage and Her Children by Bertolt Brecht. What are you able to see? Again, important contributions are made. And here, what are we able to look at? It's set in 17th century. Anna Furling is the Mother Courage that we are talking about. Okay. So please keep that in mind. From among the following, identify the journal that publishes articles on English language teaching and learning. English language teaching and learning के ऊपर कौन सा journal आपका articles publish करता है? English language teaching and learning. English language teaching and learning. English language teaching and learning. What is the correct answer over here? English language teaching and learning. English language teaching and learning. What becomes the correct answer over here? Very good, Simar Taran. Excellent. Yes. TESOL, right? Teaching of English as a secondary language. Absolutely right. That is the correct answer. TESOL, that is correct, right? That is absolutely correct. Arrange the following elegies in chronological order. You have to arrange the elegies in chronological order. तो अगर आपको थोड़ा सा भी idea होगा, you will be able to place them correctly. Right? You'll have to place them correctly. You have to place them. So सबसे पहले आपको कैसे कौन सा आ रहा है देखो अगर आपको exact dates पे नहीं पता है आप खुद देखो elegy written in a country churchyard Adonis, Tiresias, in memoriam. आपको ये तो पता चल रहा है ये आपका सबसे पहले आ रहा है followed by Adonis ठीक है and Tiresias and in memoriam क्या है ये आपके विक्टोरियन एज के वर्ड्स आ रहे हैं तो थोड़ा सा also and Tiresias आपका कब आ रहा है it is coming it is actually written in 1865 जबकि in memoriam आपका कब पब्लिश हो रहा है 1850 के अंदर so automatically थोड़ा सा भी अगर आपको नहीं पता है you can actually still do it right absolutely right B is the right answer B is the right answer Tiresias क्योंकि 1865 में आ रहा है elegy written in a country church at first है so जहाँ पे Adonis है वो तो गलत ही हो जाएगा ठीक है, सो प्लीज कीप दैट इन माइंड। ये भी आपका एलिमिनेट हो जाता है क्योंकि एडोनिस इन्होंने पहले दे दिया है, तो थोड़ा सा इन दीज यू कैन यूज द एलिमिनेशन मेथड आल्सो। एलिजी रिटन इन अ कंट्री चर्चयार्ड, आपका पोएम बाय ग्रे हु रिजेक्टेड पोएट लॉरियटशिप 1750, फर्स्ट पब्लिश्ड इन 1751। एडोनिस एलिजी ऑन द डेथ ऑफ जॉन कीट्स, pastoral elegy by P.B. Shelley coming in 1821। Tiresias by Matthew Arnold coming in 1865। आर्थर ह्यू क्लर्क का डेथ को कमेमोरेट कर रही है। In Memoriam is coming in 1850 altogether. So please remember this, okay? Please keep that in mind. K.S. Maniam is a major writer of Indian origin, writing in English, born and living in Malaysia. Identify two of the novels from the list. You have to identify two of the novels from the list. You have to identify two of the novels from the list. जल्दी से identify कीजिए दो novels from the list. जल्दी से आइडेंटिफाई कीजिए दो novels from the list, two novels from the list that you have to identify, which is written by K.S. Maniam. K.S. Maniam के दो important novels को जल्दी से आइडेंटिफाई कीजिए यहाँ से। गुड इवनिंग ज्योति, गुड इवनिंग, good evening, good evening. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer over here? Absolutely right, absolutely right. So what are the works? The return is there and between the lines is there. The return is there and between the lines is there. Between the lines जो आपका केस मनियम का है, right? Contemporary urban and regional Malaysia altogether, Indian Malaysian family. Between the lines, again, you know, Indians participation 20th century Malaysian culture altogether. The return is also another important work, autobiographical. Perhaithi, the big mother की story ये overall बता रहा है. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Nirajti Chaudhry's autobiography of an unknown, right? Autobiography of an unknown Indian concludes with an essay on the course of Indian history. But in the penultimate chapter of Chaudhry concludes accounts of events of his life. How does this narrative end? How does this narrative end? ये narrative कैसे end होता है? ये narrative कैसे end होता है? How are we able to see the end of this narrative? How are we able to see the end of this narrative? इस narrative का end कैसे हम देख पाते हैं? What is the end of the narrative? I'd shared it on the Telegram platform. मैंने Telegram पे I'd shared the class details बच्चे. That's the reason I was wondering a lot of you have not joined. I'd shared it on the Telegram channel. Okay, what is the correct answer over here? No, very good, Diksha. Nice. Touch wood, okay? Very nice. So Chaudhary obtains a job in the military accounts department and gives it up because he finds soul destroying altogether. So autobiography of an unknown Indian, right? Written around when he was 50. It records his life from his birth altogether in Kishoreganj, a small town, to present-day Bangladesh, okay? Mental intellectual development, his life and growth in Calcutta, his observations altogether that you were able to see, okay? तो ये of course आपके लिए important है. Please keep that in mind over here. In John Cower's Confessio Mantis, Ammons, the lover, makes his confession to the priest called. Makes his confession to the priest called. Makes his confession to the priest called. The priest is called what? The priest is called what? The priest is called what? The priest is called? The priest is called? Genius. Monica has given the right answer. The priest is called Genius. Confessio Mantis में priest को क्या नाम दिया गया है? Priest is called Genius. Okay, please remember that. Half sentence and purchase his pilgrimage triggered off Kubla Khan, whose work was purchased his pilgrimage. Whose work was purchased his pilgrimage? What is the correct answer over here? What becomes the right answer very quickly? Please help us understand that. Yes, everyone. Wilfred Dias has given the right answer. Very good, Wilfred. That is the right answer. Sammy purchases the London's parcel. That is correct, right? So, S.T. Coleridge का जो poem है Kubla Khan, what are we able to see is reading purchases pilgrimage, right? He wrote his in the preface to Sibylline Leaves that he was reading. ये भी आपको पता होना चाहिए preface to Sibylline Leaves में. That is when he's actually talking about it. So please know that. Okay, based on the life of a 13th century troubadour, from among the following, identify the work that marked a catastrophic failure in Robert Browning's poetic career, earning him a reputation for impenetrable difficulty. Earning him a reputation for impenetrable difficulty. What are we talking about? What is the correct answer here? What becomes the right answer here? ये काफी simple है. ये वाला काफी simple है. ये क्या सही जवाब हो जाता है? Very good. Rashmi has got the right answer. Sordello is absolutely the correct answer. Sordello is absolutely the right answer. So Sordello, again, Robert Browning worked on it for 7 years altogether. It's consisting of fictionalized version of the life of Sordello altogether that you are able to look at. Okay, Northern Italy ka setting hai. That is how the entire work is progressing. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next. In which of the following parts of Tristram Shandy does author's preface appear? Author का preface कौन से part में आ रहा है? ऑथर का प्रेफेस कौन से पार्ट में आ रहा है? इन विच पार्ट आर यू एबल टू सी लाइफ एंड ओपिनियंस ऑफ ट्रिस्ट्रम शैंडी द जेंटलमैन, राइट, बाय लॉरेंस स्टर्न? ऑथर का जो 9 वॉल्यूम्स के अंदर आ रहा है, बट आपका वॉल्यूम कौन से में ऑथर का प्रेफेस है? कौन से वॉल्यूम में ऑथर का प्रेफेस है? कौन से वॉल्यूम में ऑथर का प्रेफेस है? वॉल्यूम 3 के अंदर. वेरी गुड कुंवर साहिब. वॉल्यूम 3 के अंदर ऑथर का प्रेफेस है. So Life and Times of Tristram Shandy the Gentleman by Lawrence Stern. What are we able to see? That the author's preface is coming in volume 3, right? Chapters are of course jumbled up. 9 total volumes पे आ रखा है. ये question भी आपका नेट एग्जाम में पूछा गया कितने volumes में आया है? You should know 9 volumes के अंदर है, right? And please remember everything, blank pages, as like your mistress as you can, as unlike your wife as conscience will let you, and the way it continues. Gulliver receives the following response when he boasts about his countrymen: the most pernicious race of odious vermin that nature ever suffered to crawl upon the face of the earth. Right? Jaldi bataiye, what is the correct answer here? What becomes the correct answer over here? What is the right answer? Yes, B is the correct answer. So the king of Brobdingnag is trying to talk about the people, most pernicious race of little odious people altogether that you're able to see. Okay? Lilliput is also important journey. Brobdingnag, Glubdigrig, Onumnums, all of them are of course important journeys that we are able to look at. In Dante's Inferno, as he travels through various circles of hell, finds Judas who's unable to speak. What is the reason behind this? What is the reason behind this? Judas is unable to speak. काफी सारी वर्क्स हो गए आज अच्छी तरीके से एक बार ऑक्सफोर्ड कंपेनियन से तो मिनिमम देख लीजिएगा, राइट? व्हाट इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर? And that's very interesting. Very good, Debashish. Lucifer is chewing his head. Lucifer is chewing his head. So Canto 29 of Dante's Inferno. आप क्या देख पा रहे हो? Last circle of Cocteau, the ninth and final circle. Remember Inferno, Paradiso. So when we had Purgatory, Paradiso, the three parts altogether. Inferno में these are the gyres. You are going niche. Then Purgatory में you are coming up and finally reaching Paradiso. The various kind of people who are assisting. So Dante uses Virgil as his windbreaker altogether, right? And again, the reason why you're able to see that kis tarah se, Virgil is explaining all of that. Now, in his book, in theory, Ejaz Ahmed works out the relationship between three entities. What are these three entities that we are talking about? Ejaz Ahmed तीन entities के बारे में बता रहे हैं. What are these three entities all about? What are these three entities all about? In theory, classes, nations, and literature. ठीक है? Classes, nations and literature. Yes, very good, Shabna. Classes, nations and literature. तो आपका in theory के अंदर classes, nations and literature. Ejaz Ahmed is trying to, of course, talk about the role of theory, the role of theorists altogether. That is clearly there. He's talking about imperialism and colonialism. I'll just hide myself so that you can see this better. Okay, तो ये पूरा का पूरा आपका cover हो रहा है. 1 second, sorry. Yeah, all right. So Ahmad is trying to also tell you that how the critique of Jameson had been appropriated, right? And pura ka pura, it's also consisting a lengthy critique of Edward Said's Orientalism, because he says that it reproduces the tradition that it was trying to undermine. So Said is critiqued where? Said is critiqued by Ejaz Ahmed in theory. ये question भी आपका आता है, so you should remember that Ejaz Ahmed is asserting that by tracing Orientalist thought, you are actually going back overall. Who wrote The Wandering Jew, right? Who's the writer who's writing The Wandering Jew? So Wandering Jew किसने लिखा है? Who's the writer writing Wandering Jew? Wandering Jew कौन लिख रहा है? Who's the writer writing Wandering Jew? So when we're talking about Wandering Jew, and that's the last question that we have for today. इसके बाद we'll continue. Tomorrow I've told you, you have your class. You are having your class at 10:30 p.m. You also have your master class at 10 o'clock. Next week onwards, ये आपका कल का class है. This is the schedule for tomorrow. Next week onwards, I've told you the timings, the change timings for your master classes. and YouTube classes. So YouTube, of course, is going to be the same time that we'll be meeting, but when we are looking at master classes, that will have a change timing. So please make a note of that, okay? And different worksheets have been prepared concept wise so that it's going to be easier for you to prepare better. जल्दी से बताइए यहाँ पर what becomes the right answer here? Absolutely right. P.B. Shelley is the right answer. Wandering Jew, a poem in 4 cantos, right? The Wandering Jew's soliloquy is also the short lyric. So P.B. Shelley is writing. P.B. Shelley is writing, okay? And it remained unpublished also. So I'll see you all, of course, tomorrow at 10 p.m. as well as 10:30 p.m. Classroom students, I hope you know you don't have a rest break even on Sunday, because on Sunday also we'll be having your session at 11 a.m. Okay, so just be prepared about it. In case if there are any other doubts that you are having, if there are any other problems that are there, please feel free to let me know about it. Properly ये सारी चीजें रिवाइज कर लीजिएगा. Thank you Monica, Diksha, very good job done. Zamar, Devashish, thank you everyone. Thanks Wilfred, thanks Rashmi. Okay, it's just gone up. Thanks Devashish, thanks Maya, thank you everyone. Take good care of yourselves, and I will catch up with all of you tomorrow. Fine. And don't forget to, of course, make a wish at 11:11. All right. Chalo. Take care. Thanks, everyone. I'm just. Thank you. हाँ, शबनम से कितना पढ़ना पड़ेगा? Absolutely right. Thanks, Simar. Thanks, Devashish. Okay, take care. Bye.